Morara being attacked at the venue of the public participation. And when we flip to the other side of the Senate, we have two bills that are pending. That we have the limit of the presidency, that is to move from 5-year to 7-year table to be tabled by Senator Cherangai. And also we have the censure of the President William Ruto by Senator Dan. So these are the state of the nation, and we are trying to capture all these at a go. So the next speaker, we are going to have Wycliffe. Then after Wycliffe, we will be having Dr. Maju, then Dr. Milton. Wycliffe, karibu. I think we are losing Wycliffe. Dr. Maju.
Thank you. Is that one Abdi or Pombe?
This is Pombe de Kali. Abdi just got back. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdi. I'm sorry, it's when I've joined and I've seen Larry has sent me an invite to come to the speaker, and I was still listening to the views of the listeners and other speakers. But on just to pick on what your highlights on the matters that we are discussing, the Morara issue, the impeachment of the DP president, I would like to say that I'm very happy with the Kenyans this time around, those who came out in large number to participate in their areas of participation on the impeachment of the deputy president of Kenya, Gachagua. They responded positively. That I can see a song saying that kufa gari, kufa dereva, kufa makanga. So walikuja wote, let all of them go home. And also, what made me happy again is when the people came out and said that we are not going to solve their problem. When they have a problem, they should solve it by themselves, because when we are having a problem, the MPs are not taking a concern of sitting down and handling our issues. So first of all, I'm happy with that. Let me handle the issue of Morara. I've been trying to dig what could bring the cause at Bomas. But I remember when Morara came in, he was blocked by the policeman not to access that room. Later on, he forced himself inside, and there was a case. Inside that hall, the Marco Ure also was inside, and everybody saw or listened to what Marco Ure said. He gave his support fully that it is Gachagua to go home and not together with the president. And I think immediately when Morara came in, Morara didn't talk. He was trying a bit to use the sign language of showing that whatever is going on here should not go on. So we are still not understanding the take or the stand of Morara and Marco Ure, but it is very clear that Marco Ure has developed a political interest. And this one can clearly tell the Gen Zs that in as much as we talk of having new fresh blood, people will always be people. Because if you see Marco Ure now will stand in front and fight for only the deputy president. Somebody asked a very funny question, that if we send the deputy president, will we have drugs in the hospital? Will we have no corruption in this country if we remain with the Ruto alone? Is it Gachagua that is generating all this? Which to me the answer is no, because the head of the state is none other than William Samuel Ruto. So we have to be very careful, the young people also, and the likes of Morara, is any of them is listening whichever. I tried to reach this guy called KUT who was together with them there. And I told them that it is politics. And they must be very, very careful. Let them be ready for such things. The like of Alado and the TJ will never joke with them around, because nobody will just give you power easily. Those are one of the things that the so-called Raila passed through. Raila rebelled with his father some days back, and he went through some hardship. If you read his stories well, I remember there is a story that I was reading about him when the father was having a party at their home, and Raila skipped that party, him together with Nyong, because his father wanted to front none other than James Orengo. He skipped that party, and not just skipping that party, he went ahead and brought a chaos to disrupt that party at their own home. So those are politics, and they should read the game. If they are not careful, we will lose them as early as we lost the likes of Tomboy. So once you are in the game of politics, your strategy needs a strategy, and never pretend that things will flow normal. Let me listen to other speakers, then if you will allow me come back again after I've analyzed the 1, 2, 3 things, I'll give my view. But I'm happy to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maju. Let me bring in one of our guest speaker, Dr. Milton, and then we move to the next speaker. Thank you. Dr. Milton, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Abdi. First of all, let me confirm that everybody can hear me.
Loud and clear.
All right. Thank you so much. First of all, like I always do, I want to pay tribute to the fallen comrades who paid the ultimate price as a result of the June 25th protest and the aftermath to that. We owe them a debt of gratitude for paying the ultimate price, and we must make sure that their blood and their life was not in vain. Having said that, I want to speak to something which has been disturbing to me the whole of this week. That as a country, we are faced with a very sad reality. We have a leadership that does not care about the country, and those of us who care about Kenya, we must be able to have the courage to stand up and say no to it. There is a deliberate scheme to slide the country back to anarchy and into the dictatorship of the Moi era. But it should be concerning to everybody that the person who's taking us back came in with the Bible, and he told the country that he was sent as a Messiah to rescue the Kenyan people from the shackles of dynasties and now, listening to, I don't know how many of us, and I want to make reference to Dr. Barak Muluka, a man that I have a lot of respect for, who, speaking on Spice FM, I think early, was it on Monday or Tuesday, he said that if you ask him that has William Ruto and his regime lost the agenda and the plan? Dr. Muluka said, and I want to say it here for those who may not have followed, and if you didn't, I want to encourage you to go online and listen to Barak Muluka. He said that as far as he's concerned, William Ruto is right on course with his agenda for Kenya, against Kenya. And those of us who believed in the masked William Ruto
are the ones who think that there is anything new happening to William Ruto. William Ruto is keeping with his agenda for seeking power. He's kept every side of the bargain in showing us that in 2 short years, his government and leadership is riddled with corruption scandals amounting to $500 billion plus. And here is the reason why. Adani is about 200, north of 200 billion shillings. The chief, Apiero thing, is another 104 billion. That takes you to 300 billion plus. You would remember we had the edible oil saga, which was 5 billion. And we had the G2G oil deal. We do not know how much it is worth, but we know that there was 17 billion worth of oil that was allegedly imported into the country by one lady, and that mafuta ilipotea. I don't know whether anybody has followed that. And then you have the ghost schools under the Ministry of Education that are receiving capitation. Those schools don't exist. They only exist for purposes of elections and corruption. And the number is about 10,000 of them, if I am not wrong. But those numbers can be confirmed. So basically, William Ruto has borrowed about 5 trillion. Maybe it could have gone to 6 by now, and 10% of that money cannot be properly accounted for. But let me talk about the areas of concern for me. William Ruto and the state of the nation is such that for me, we must be able to see it the way it is. William Ruto, from when he came into office, his agenda was to finish everything that has been there and set up his own system. And he started testing the waters very early. Unfortunately, the Kenyan people were duped into believing that give this president time. But the time we were giving him was for him to entrench himself and put his henchmen in strategic places. So number one, he made sure that in his book, he will appoint every incompetent person, so that when he sits in cabinet and when the state agencies of state, he made sure that he is in control and everybody says, yes, sir, yes, your excellency, yes, sir, because if it is Linturi, nimekutoa wapi? Wewe ulikuwa na kesi za corruption, ulikuwa unamalizwa, tumemaliza kesi. So Linturi will not say anything. So as CS, he started by appointing a cabinet that is incompetent, has baggage and skeletons in their closet so that he can be in charge. And Kenyans didn't say anything. Kenyans fell for this thing that let's give him time. Then came the scandals. They started with the edible oils one with Moses Kuria, and then it fizzled out. Just like that, 5 billion. Nobody's talking about it, and it's done. Then he went to parliament and bought all the political parties, installed Wetangula, and Wetangula is indebted to him. Papa Waroma thinks being number 3 in the pecking order is a big thing. So Bunge, we lost it. Kenyans lost it. They tested waters with a few things. The first one was the supplementary budget of 2023, and then the big one of 2023 in the finance bill. Mukapiga kelele wa Kenya, and nothing happened. He tested the waters. He knows he can control the National Assembly, controls the Senate. And then came the appointments to parastatals. Mtu wako na deni ya KRA ya 2 billion anafaa kulipa, ndio sasa anakuwa chairman wa KRA. And Kenyans are not talking about it. He comes and says the oil subsidy thing was a kiosk where Uhuru's cronies were eating 65 billion every month. He undid that thing, he stopped it. He raised the fuel prices, and then he installed his cronies, his own people under the new thing. I can't remember what they called it. They set up that thing. Bei ya mafuta haikushuka by half of what it had gone up. Kenyans did nothing. And now, the finance bill is here. He has felt the pressure. Amedanganya wa Kenya that he is a listening president. Dennis Itumbi, my brother, who I have known for many years since our time in college, comes and says, listening president. And the country falls for it. And then he dangles the carrot for Baba and tells Baba, you can be the chairman of AU. So, and because you can't be chairman of AU without getting endorsed by your country, I am going to do it. I'm going to run the secretariat. Baba gets excited, and then the whole country is in a mess. Picks 4 ODM guys, puts them in cabinet, in critical dockets, zenye tayari wameiba. And what he is basically doing, and this is what I want you to see, he has put Mbadi in the treasury, where they know they have stolen, they have committed the country to some illegalities in the name of domestic borrowing. So now, when everything is going to fail, like now they have to do the finance bill again, who is going to bring it? Mbadi. So Mbadi is going to be the most unpopular politician by the time the finance bill is coming. So Ruto is saying, Oparanya, hii hustler fund tulisha kula. Tumemalizana nayo. Oparanya, kuja hapa, wewe ndio mnasema mnajua. Then you look at Opio Wandai. They have given out Ketrako to Adani fictitiously. So Opio Wandai is told, kuja, simamia energy. And then Joho, wewe unajifanya kujua sana, kuja, mining. When they have already given concessions for illegal mining, and when all those scandals are going to come out, who is going to look bad? It is going to be the experts, the ODM experts are going to be the ones Ruto will turn to and say, Wana, sasa situlileta serikali ya kila mtu. So that Ruto then looks good. That hata kama mnasema mimi ni mbaya, sasa mimi ni mbaya aje na hao watu nilileta wa ODM. Anyway, cut the long story short. William Ruto knows today Kenyans are gullible. Kenyans will not watakasirika for a few days, and that's it. So he is now testing the waters with bringing that bill ya kuimpeach Gachagua. And then Cherargei is sneaking in that one of term limit. Basically he's saying, hii nitapitisha hizi vitu zote, I can now test the waters. He has deployed the military illegally, and he has unleashed the police on the people, police brutality. Nothing is happening. He comes and pretends he doesn't know of any Kenyan that is missing. An 8-year-old or 12-year-old is sprayed with bullets. He comes and says, at least that boy is alive. And the country is just watching. Kome was sacrificed. Now they have brought in Masengeli. They have messed him up. They have brought Kanja. They are going to mess him up. All I am saying is that William Ruto is testing the waters. He is bringing in the term limit, removal, change the terms of the presidency, set up the IEBC now that he has pocketed Baba, control everything. He says, what's a 20 referendum? He will force that referendum. Even if you vote yes, William Ruto is a master stealer of election. He is going to manipulate that referendum. He will be a president for life. And all that we've had will be negated. That is the sad state of our country. And that is why I am calling upon all of us, comrades. I said some time back that this fight is a marathon. It is not a sprint. This is the time to come out and say no to the dictatorship that William Ruto wants to take us back to. This is not the time to attack Kasmuel Makoure, Morara Kebaso. This is not the time to say you are the next president and you want to replace William Ruto. This is not the time to even tell anybody about political ambitions because we don't have a country. What we have to do right now is to pull together and say William Ruto has to go. The people have to take back their power so that we don't slide to the anarchy. Leaders are chosen by God and anointed by the Almighty. And even when it may seem like we need to get a figurehead, a leader, God will appoint a leader for the Kenyans when William Ruto and his cabal has been run out of town. Fellow Kenyans, we are staring at a return 4 decades back if we don't target our swords at William Ruto and his people. This is not the time to attack young people like kasmuel. This is not the time to turn against each other. This is a time to draw together. The enemy is not any one of us who has not tested power. The enemy is not even Baba. Right now, the enemy is the master conniver. As the man of cloth did acknowledge here, the church was duped to go into bed with the devil. This is the time for the country to come together. This is the time for us to revert to those spaces that had hundreds and millions of people in one space, Kenyans speaking one language. This is not the time for people to be divided, because a people united can never be divided, can never be defeated. We must be able to see, tuone William Ruto 18 village nzi wanasema na tumfukuze. Hizi vipindi za kufukuza sijui Gachagua sijui na yeye analetewa yake, all that is razzmatazz that does not matter. It is meant to distract us. It is a hair being thrown at us so that we lose sight of the antelope that we've been hunting for. We must not fall for that temptation. And I am calling upon us as I land that this is a time to look for kasmuel Makoure. This is a time to look for Kebaso. This is a time to bring all these forces together into one, so that the benefit of history by those who understand where Kenya has come from and how the liberation struggle has been can be able to share their nuggets of wisdom with these young people, so that they stop falling for the premature carrot that is being dangled and start going after the hare when the antelope is running away. I want to land at that point and open it up so that we can further discuss. The state of the nation right now is that the people cannot afford to be against each other. The people must be together. I risk starting to repeat myself. I have made my point. Abdi, I drop mic. Let the conversation continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Milton, always for the great presentation. Let me cycle back to Linus. He's on the mic. Linus, I'll let you come in with time into this conversation again. Thank you.
Kindly permit. I've just rejoined. I dropped, unfortunately, and I've not picked